my name is Lizzie and this is Lizzie's Literary Life, and today we are doing my March and April Tipsy Wrap Up. That's actually really good. Wow, okay, so first off, this is the thing where every month or sometimes 2 months, I drink a fun drink and talk about all the books that I read in the previous month. And today we are drinking this pineapple mango hard cider, 1911 brand. I wanted something fun and springy, and this is more summery, but I was just excited about the weather getting warmer. And I wanted something fun, and this is fun, and this is actually really good. I was like a little bit apprehensive. I don't usually go for pineapple drinks, primarily because they often have coconut flavor as well, and I'm not a coconut fan. But this is really good. We are here today to discuss all of the books that I read in March and April. I did not do a tipsy wrap up after March because I didn't read that many books, and honestly, I just didn't feel like it. I feel like I have to be in a very specific mood to do tipsy wrap up. I have to be tipsy, obviously, and I just need to be in the right frame of mind, and I didn't get there at the beginning of April, and just things got busy. So we're here now with a combined March and April tipsy wrap up. We're going to just jump right in. We do non-bookish faves first, then stats, then we do our reading stats, and then I get into all the books that I read. So, non-bookish faves. Obviously, if you saw my last video, Orla Gartland and my whole road trip continues to forever be a fave. I had the best time. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it. But I did a little road trip to see 4 shows in 5 days from one of my favorite musicians, Orla Gartland. And Fightmaster was supporting, who I also have become a huge fan of. And I just had the absolute best time, as you can see in that video if you watch it. And I am just kind of obsessed. So that's my biggest fave from the month. And I feel like that's all the music I've been listening to too. I haven't been listening to a lot of new stuff. TV, movie, I don't really watch movies, but visual media, Survivor, The Amazing Race, my usual reality TV stuff. But I also have been watching the new season of Game Changer on Dropout with my fiance. If you're into comedy, improv, or if you have Dropout, you probably are already watching Game Changer, but Dropout is a separate subscription service for Dropout shows. Game Changer is just so good. Oh, I also wanted to talk about knitting and knitting podcasts because I have learned to knit, and you will see that in a video coming probably later this week. I did a vlog of my first week or few days learning to knit. But for a while now, I've been really into knitting podcasts on YouTube. My favorite knitting podcasts are Cozy Books and Knits, who also talks about books sometimes, Connie G, and Study Knits. I will link them all down below. They just have great vibes, all 3 of them, and I thoroughly enjoy their content. And I've been thinking about doing a knitting podcast style video series on this channel. I do my crochet and book chats, which we have 2 episodes, and I have a couple more episodes planned for that series. But that's I crochet and I talk about books or other things. I want to do a traditional knit crochet podcast format, which is where you if you're not familiar, you talk about the stuff you've finished recently, so finished objects, you talk about your whips, works in progress, and you talk about acquisitions, so new yarns you've acquired, and then future plans, so future knitting crochet plans. And I would do split knit and crochet because that's what I do. I have been crocheting and now I've learned to knit. I think I'd like to do that. I have been enjoying doing more crochet and knitting content on this channel, and I think I'd like to do a knitting podcast. So if you are interested in that, comment down below, let me know. If you're not interested in that, or like you would prefer I like made a separate channel for fiber arts content, I don't think I would want to do that, but like if that's your opinion, let me know also. But yeah, that is something that may be coming in the future. Any other faves? Tiramisu. Oh my gosh. I got a tiramisu for my birthday, just a grocery store tiramisu, but like it was really good. And I just have been like obsessed with the idea of tiramisu. I'm also really excited about cold brew season. I got this rapid cold brew maker. I actually got it for Christmas, but I did not get it into my possession until my road trip, because like basically I flew to where I was for Christmas and I received that, and then I had to have my parents take it back because I couldn't take it on the plane, and then I picked it up from their house on my trip a couple weeks ago. Anyway, I'm really excited about it, and I'm really excited to just have like proper cold brew in my fridge at all times for the summer. So yeah, that's another fave. That's enough non-bookish faves. As you know, stats are serious business, so we must put our drink down. I'm going to do combined March and April stats for all my graphs and stuff. I should probably move you over so I can put them on the screen. They're going to be on that side. Okay. In March and April, I read a total of 12 books. I read 5 in March and 7 in April, which is low for me, but also like this year has not been super. I feel like I've been reading a lot, and yet my numbers are not very high, but you know, it is what it is. All reading is good reading. So 12 books combined in March and April. I read, that was 5,724 pages. Audiobook hours, 118. I spent a total of 83.56 hours reading over these 2 months. Pages per book, 477. And maybe that's why I feel like I've been reading a lot and the numbers just aren't there, is because they've been long books. Average of 16.83 days spent on each book. This is heavily weighted by one book that took me like 2.5 months to read. Because mostly my pages per day, like my days per book is much shorter than that, but that one book skewed that average. My average rating was a 3.17, which is not good. So average books these couple months, 95.4 pages per day and 1.37 hours per day on average, which like I do aim for 150 pages per day, though I haven't hit that in a long time. But like I am reading. I'm reading, and that's what matters. So there we are. Genre breakdown wise, half of the books I've read this month have been these 2 months have been fantasy, and another third have been sci-fi dystopian. And that like my genre blanket is going to be so dominated by the fantasy sci-fi color for the first few months of the year, because that feels like it's been all I've been reading. And I really, like, I love fantasy sci-fi. It's one of my favorite genres, but I really would like to get into more lit fic, like I feel like is my typical, because I like it. I don't know. Like, I feel like what I think of as my primary genres are fantasy, lit fic, and like historical fiction. And I have not been reading as much lit fic and historical fiction lately, but I did have one historical fiction and one nonfiction in these 2 months. Age demographics, we have a perfect even split adult and young adult. I have been reading a lot more YA this year and the last year too, because of the Throwback Book Club, which we will get into those books when we talk about the books. But the Throwback Book Club has got me reading some YA, which is fun. Formats. Did I really read no physical books? I guess I read no physical books. I read 58.3% audiobooks, and 41.7% ebooks. Ratings wise, okay, we had a 1-star, we had a 5-star, we had 4 3-stars, and an even spread in the middle. I'm glad we had a 5-star and 2 4.5s. So we did have some good books to write home about, but also some bad books. So it happens. And as to where I acquired these books, no books that I owned. RIP. But we had half from the library, a quarter from Kindle Unlimited, and I will get into what those books are and why. 2 from Spotify and 1 from Audible. It's kind of a long story why I had an Audible credit, but I had an Audible credit and I used it. And is that all the things I usually talk about? I think so. I have to show you my daily pages. These are my favorite graphs. Here is my daily pages graph for March. It breaks down all the books I read on each day with how many pages. It's a little bit of a lot to look at, but I just love these graphs. I love that I've been making them this year. So that's March. There was only 2 days in March that I did not read at all. The 20th and the 30th. And then here's that same graph for April. I read more books in April, but it looks like I read less. So that's interesting. Several days that I did not read at all, including at the end of the month. But yeah, that's April. I had one 450-page day on the 22nd. So yeah, okay. We're going to come back to the middle and talk about all of the individual books and pick up my drink and have another sip of that delicious concoction. Okay. The first book that I read in March was The Otherwhere Post by Emily J. Taylor. And this, is that her name? Yes. This, I feel like I read years ago. Like, it really feels so long ago, I cannot tell you a thing about it. And that's why, I don't love doing a combined 2 months wrap up, but it is what it is. It's what happened. I'm not going to tell you anything because I don't remember anything, but I did give it 3 stars. It was fine. Oh, I do remember. So here's the premise. What I remember of the premise. We've got multiple worlds. One of them is inaccessible to most people because of a plague or something. And there's the Otherwhere Post is the service that carries letters between the worlds. And we have our character trying to do things. Okay, there you go. That's the concept. I was confused about the age demographic of this book. I classified it as young adult on my spreadsheet because that's where I landed. But it felt very juvenile, very middle grade for most of it. And then there was a weird romance plot going on that did not feel middle grade. And so that was just confusing to me. But it wasn't bad. It was fine. Not memorable though. I read that for a monthly release for hrcyed, February release, I think. And yeah, that's that. That's all I'm going to say. Then I read my first Spiffbo book. The Spiffbo vlog will come eventually. Spiffbo is the self-published fantasy blog off. Part of hrcyed, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. Many acronyms in the book world. Part of hrcyed is to read 5 Spiffbo books, and I decided I was going to randomly generate 5 Spiffbo books and read them in a vlog. I was supposed to do this in March. It was only supposed to take through March. I'm still not done. I'm still in the middle of book number 4 because they are bad. And it's just really hard to read a lot of bad books in a row. So I am going to tell you what the titles, but I'm not going to tell you my ratings of these individual books. Well, I will tell you that there's 3 in this wrap-up. 3 Spiffbo books in this wrap-up. 2 of them were 2 stars. 1 of them was 1 star. But I will leave that for the vlog, which will come to you at some time, eventually. And yeah, this was the first one. It was The Mighty. It was fine. I mean, fine. By fine, I mean kind of bad. I gave it 2 stars. I'm not going to talk about it because it's in a vlog. And then I read Cress by Marissa Meyer, which is part of the Lunar Chronicles, which is what we have been reading for the Throwback Book Club in January through April. Now, the Throwback Book Club is a book club that I host with Danielle from Danielle Reads, where we read books that were our favorites when we were teenagers. And the Lunar Chronicles, I didn't read them until I read some of them like in late high school, early college. So like they're not like really nostalgic for me, and I didn't read all of them, but they are nostalgic for Danielle and for other people in the book club. So, and they are a very classic 2010s sci-fi dystopian series. Cress, I gave 3.5 stars. That's higher than I thought it was. This whole series has been like fun to listen to. I've listened to them all on audio. Whole series has been like fun and fine and okay. Nothing super special to me, but like they're fun, they're whatever. We are having our live show for the series on Monday, the day you're seeing this, hopefully, in the evening at like 7 p.m. on, I don't remember whose channel, probably mine. So tune in if you're interested, if you read those as a teenager, if you reread them with us this time, or if you're just interested, definitely tune into that. But yeah, Cress is the one. It's like a Rapunzel retelling. They're all like loosely fairy tale retellings in this like sci-fi world. And I didn't love the relationship in this book. It like gave me the ick in a couple ways, which I'm sure we'll talk about at the live show. But otherwise it was fine. It was good. It was fun. Easy listen. And then I read Fairest, which is the novella. It's the book 3.5 novella in that series. It's like our villain origin story. Snow, like evil queen situation. This one I gave 3 stars. It didn't feel super necessary to me, but like it was fine. It was okay. It was okay. We'll talk about it at the live show. I'm gonna like try to zoom through these because a lot of them are in vlogs or like we're gonna talk about it at a later date. Well, I say I'm gonna zoom through them, and then this next one is my 5 star, so I will be talking about it. My next read we're still in March, was Northwoods by Daniel Mason. Now, this was the pick for the Shelf This Book Club that's hosted by Bailey from Ms. Bailey Reading. They have rotating people who choose the books, and this book was chosen by Ruby from Ruby Red. Ruby, so I live in Western Massachusetts. Ruby lives in the Catskills in upstate New York, about 2.5 hours west of me. And this book is set in the woods, kind of between where we live. It's Western Massachusetts woods, like the Berkshires. And basically it follows, like, it's like one of those like intergenerational sagas, family sagas that goes over centuries, except instead of following a family or a person, we're following a place. So our main character is this plot of land in the woods of Western Massachusetts. We just follow this plot of land over like 300, 400 years, and all of the people that live on it, and the wildlife that live on it, and the trees that live on it. And it was just phenomenal. I gave it 5 stars. It was almost like a series of short stories, kind of, but they were so connected by the sense of place. And the reason I say it was kind of like a series of short stories, sort of, is because the people characters were different in each part, and also the writing style was kind of different in each part. There were all of these little interludes also of like different types of things. Like there were songs, like poems in there, and like letters. There was a whole section in letters. There was a whole section in footnotes. It just was so cool and new and different in terms of style, which I loved. I love a book that is doing something new with form, playing around with form. And it also just had a really great plot. Like, you'd think it wouldn't be a plotty book, but like there was definitely plot. And I just thought it was excellent. So I highly recommend that book. especially if you're into like eco-fiction, nature writing, but also like I just think it's excellent. I think it's probably not for everyone. Like the writing style can be a little obscure in places, but I really, really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. So, highly recommend. And then we have my next Spiffbo book, Wolf Eater by Anthony Mitchell. Not great. See the vlog. And then we have Winter by Marissa Meyer, which is the final, like, full book in the Lunar Chronicles. This one I gave 3 stars. It dragged. This one is long. It is like 800 pages. The audiobook is 23 hours long. Not as long as the next book I'm going to talk about, but it was long and it dragged. But it was fine. It was a good wrap up to the series, I think. Like, it did do all the things a good finale should do. I just felt like it dragged. And that's that. And we're going to move on. Next book is actually, I have a vlog for this that is coming out sometime, where I read this book and I do a specific crochet project kind of in tandem. And that book is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. So I'm not going to tell you what I thought about it, because you'll have to stay tuned for the vlog that is specifically about that book. It's actually a spoilery vlog, but I'm going to do like something with the editing so you can skip the spoilers if you want to. I'm going to like do like a spoiler warning on the screen or something. That's an 1,000-page book, if you didn't know. 45-hour audiobook. I read it. It took me 2.5 months, but I did it. So there's that. I do feel accomplished for finishing it. And now I've started that series full of 1,000-page books. So we have more work to do, but there will be a vlog coming out for that sometime soon. And then I read Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. I gave this 4.5 stars, but honestly, it hasn't stuck with me in the way that some of John Green's other books really have. Like I think the Anthropocene Reviewed really stuck with me. And then like, obviously, I mean, they're behind me on my shelf. It's actually funny to me that like the shelf that's right behind me that's visible in my videos when I film in this location is like my YA childhood books shelf. And I just think that's interesting and funny. Like people might look at my videos and be like, is that what she reads? And no, it's what I read when I was a teenager. But I mean, there's some other stuff on there because my books are not organized. Like we have The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. We have Autumn and Winter by Ali Smith. Here's Orlando. Here's The Cloisters. But yeah, anyway, that's a tangent. Everything is Tuberculosis. Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. This is a book about tuberculosis and about the fight against tuberculosis and how we as a society could have eliminated tuberculosis from the world, and no one should be getting tuberculosis in 2025. However, there is inequity in the global health global health systems. There's global health inequity that makes it such that people are still getting tuberculosis, which is 100% curable in the year 2025. And it's sad in a lot of places, and it makes you really feel things. Like John Green knows how to make you feel things in a very earnest way. Like I love John Green and I love his writing. I'm a huge defender of the Green brothers. But it's also quite hopeful. There are parts of it that are quite hopeful. So it's not just a total downer book. It's quite short, which is really good. I think it's nice, short, snappy, readable. I thought it was really, really good. I felt very good about it when I finished it. It just was not super memorable to me, so it probably could be a 4 instead of a 4.5, but I did really like it while I was reading it. And then we have the third Spiffbo book, which was The Fall by Michael D'Angelo. Watch the vlog when it comes out. 2 more. Golden Fool by Robin Hobb. Robin Hobb is the author of the Realm of the Elderling series, which is a saga of several interconnected series of books that I have been reading for a year or so now with some friends. We do a little read along, just friend read along, and I love these books. This is the second book in the Tawny Man trilogy, which is the third series in the Realm of the Elderling. So I can't really give you synopsis or anything because it spoils the previous books. But just know, I love the Fool. I love and hate Fitz in equal measure. I'm emotional. I gave this 4.5 stars. It really could have been a 5, but I said this to my friends when we did our discussion that like, I feel like every book in this series from here on out could be a 5, but I want to be more discerning about like which ones I liked more and which ones I liked less, just have a record of that. And this was not the 5-iest 5, so I gave it 4.5 stars, but like compared to any other 4.5 star, it's a 5. Does that make sense? Maybe, I don't know. But I loved this book. Robin Hobb probably puts crack in her books because I just cannot stop reading. That's our like joke in the group chat is like, what does she put in these things? Crack, because like you cannot stop reading. And it breaks my heart every single time. She just knows how to like, so that's Golden Fool. The next book is called Fool's Fate, and I think I will die actually while reading it. So stay tuned for that, or you might not ever see me again because I'll be dead. So yeah, I plan to read that in July after Wonderthon and after her get is over. And then the final book that I finished in April was Stars Above by Marissa Meyer, which is the short story novella collection that kind of goes after the end of the Lunar Chronicles. This was fine. I gave it 3.5 stars. Really, it should be a 3. Most of the stories were so nothing. Like I feel like the purpose of it was that we saw all of these scenes that like we knew happened, but we didn't see on page. And so it was very fan servicey, which is like fine, but I just felt like it was so not necessary and I didn't need to read it. And if it wasn't for the book club, I would not have read it. None of it was bad. There was actually one story that I really didn't like that felt so irrelevant, but most of it was just like kind of fine. Like it was stuff we already knew happened. The last story was like a wedding between two of the characters. I did think that one was really sweet as someone who's about to get married, but yeah, it was just fine. So we're ending on that note of it was just fine. And those are the 12 books that I read in March and April. I'm going to leave you there. Comment down below if you're have read any of these books or if you're interested in them. If I were to recommend one, Northwoods by Daniel Mason. Also, if you're a fantasy girly and you have not read The Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb, do it. Assassin's Apprentice is the first one. Just go for it. But also Northwoods. So those are my recs. And comment down below. I already said that. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one coming very soon. Bye.